Hello, and welcome to Have At Us, Reviews for Your Pleasure. I'm Joshua.
And I'm Nietzsche.
This is episode 29, Kiki, the Teenage Witch. And we are here to discuss for you our honest opinions, thoughts, and feelings, all about Kiki's delivery service. This week, we decided to bring you something a little bit more bite-sized, and that would be a Ghibli film. Everyone loves those, so we're going to talk about them probably every now and then. But we're going to start here. This is your spoiler warning.
I think most people feel like have seen this film. I feel like it's a pretty popular film. No?
I don't know. When you go and talk about Ghibli movies, does this come up in the discussions?
I feel like it's like this, Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle. I feel like those are your four movies that most people have seen out of Studio Ghibli.
Really?
I do, at least. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't know that I have a conversation about it enough to really say. And online, I feel like people have seen all of them. So it's really hard for me to say the popularity of this film. I agree that like Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle seem to be super popular. But I'm not sure about this one. I think that's a bit of a shame because I think this one is better than all of those.
I think it's a decent film. I don't know that I put this as better than like Howl's Moving Castle. By any stretch.
This is way better.
Howl's Moving Castle is a much more visually appealing film, and I think that makes it better. Like, the story's a little better. So I could take or leave, but the visuals matter better. But in Kiki, the visuals are fine. Like, they're good, they're serviceable, but there's no, like, standout grand coolness happening with it.
Howl's Moving Castle was really kind of fantastical.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is a lot more down to a real scenario with the addedness of witches, but it's not embellished to be super crazy, right? This isn't like Ponyo level weird stuff happening. This is pretty down to earth in its nature and wants to tell a more human story with it. And so I think keeping it simple works. I like the visuals, actually. I think it's a pretty film. I especially like the opening shot where they're by the lake. Kiki's by the lake listening to the radio. I think that's a really cool shot.
I mean, they look nice. They look Studio Ghibli standards, which is better than most people are going to give you, which is nice. But yeah, I agree. It's just a nice coming-of-age story. Right? It's just a nice little, like, slice-of-life coming-of-age story. And it works.
It's simple. And not as an insult, but I think that's its strength. It's simple. It's easy to understand. It's easy to get behind. Characters are likable. And so it's easy to root for them, and you want to see things, happen. There's not really, like, an antagonist to the film outside of, your own growing up.
No, you're wrong. The antagonist of this film is the wind.
Well,
the wind causes all the problems.
The wind
sucks, and I connected with that. The wind is the worst. Took me an extra 5 minutes to get home today. I'd like you to know, because the wind.
That's not my problem.
And Kiki understands that struggle.
Maybe you should get a shield and put that up on your bike. A windshield.
Wow. That's all I gotta say to that is wow.
It'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could be like Tombo in this film and just get a propeller on that bad boy. See where it takes you. Use the wind to your advantage.
It takes me getting hit by a car. Because that propeller takes up way more space than necessary. I also didn't understand there was only a chain running to the propeller. So I didn't really understand how the wheels were supposed to move.
I don't think you're supposed to question it too much on the whole inventive side of it. I mean, I have no idea how this would work. This isn't really feasible.
I mean, their final product, looked fine. It looked like it worked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more fleshed out. It looks more like a proper plane. It's one of these things where this isn't really realistic, but it works in a world where there's some witches flying around on brooms, and that's just kind of taken for fact.
Witches are just common knowledge things, too. I think that's a really interesting fact, is that, like, they're just a part of society.
Kind of thinking, like, okay, Kiki's gonna need to kind of hide her identity. Nope. We're just flying in. Everyone can see us. It's no problem. And people are kind of surprised. Doesn't seem to be super common, but people know of it. People know of witches and accept that they exist. It's interesting. It's kind of cool, actually. It makes it feel natural. Like this is just part of the growing up of a witch.
I think they set it up pretty well. The inclusion of the young witch completing her training in Las Vegas. That's what I decided she was in.
Vegas.
Yeah. And Casino Town is what it looked like, though. Just like, okay, you would make it fortune-telling there.
That makes sense.
Like, that worked really well. They gave credence that this is happening, other people are doing it.
It gives a little bit more to the world. I like that cat that she had. Just looks stuck up.
He was a statue cat, okay?
Very prideful.
He didn't have time to bother with these low-life people.
I was always like, oh, is this person going to be a character? No.
No, it's there just simply to establish the world.
And that's cool. I like that.
It does a good job with that. It works really well. I wasn't really having to ask a lot of questions about what was really happening and why witches existed and all this whole deal in the world because I was engaged. And we answered, very simple questions like, why is Kiki leaving? It's just the custom. And, she apparently doesn't know a lot. Apparently she kind of sucks.
It seems like she lived in a small town and maybe they're just not... maybe that's part of the training, though, right? Is we're not going to necessarily teach you everything about the world. You kind of have to go and figure it out yourself.
Well, her mother was like, I don't know that she's ready type thing, and I don't know.
It's a cool setup. I like the idea of the series, or the movie. It's a cool idea. It's simple. This movie is based off a novel, which I didn't know that. But it is.
A lot of Ghibli films are based on novels.
Same with, Disney films. Just come up with your own stuff. Easy.
Alright, well, next week you're going to be bringing us something of your own original material.
I will. No problem.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be the whole episode.
Yep. The setup works to get you into the city. I kind of like her travel to it. I like how she, gets on this train and just lets it take her wherever, not really worrying about it too much. It's just kind of a neat little portion of the film. Really sets things up.
It sets her up as a very free-spirited individual, which she is. I like how nice she is to the cattle. I'm always going to be a fan of that.
Just needlessly polite.
Yeah, she has to dig her way down in there. Sorry, I didn't mean to put my foot in your breakfast. I just put my whole body in it now. It's very much a childish thing of oh, I should be polite. And I have zero clue how to, think through the rest of that. Nope. Irrelevant.
Yeah, see, Kiki's she's polite, but she can be a little stuck up in her ways.
I mean, she's a 13-year-old child.
Yeah, fair enough.
And she sells that, right? She has kind of some mood swings. She doesn't quite know how to take care of herself as well as she should. And
yeah, believably 13.
And it really, it sold it to me. It worked.
It works well and makes it feel like a believable film.
It doesn't take place over a very long period of time.
Well, it's not exactly specific on how far into this year we are at the end.
I mean, we're not very far in, though. It can't be that long for her to get her first customer.
Yeah, I don't think it seems to me like this movie probably takes place over no more than a month. Because there's clearly some time lapse here and there at a couple moments, but they're not very large. And then they're at the very end of the film. You could, I guess, see it a little bit further into the future, but that's more just quick snippets.
That's fair, yeah. I mean, the only thing that's weird is how long she's, working at the bakery, basically, before she actually gets her delivery service kind of going. Because that's not super clear, but I don't imagine it's super long. But you get, what's her name? What's Baker girl's name?
Osano.
Osano and her husband.
Assumably.
There's a funny guy.
I like him. Has a whole one word in the entire film.
Look. That's his one line. But he communicates a lot without having to say anything.
Yeah, his body language.
And it works really well.
Yeah.
It's a really quality animation choice.
He's funny, and you can see that he cares, and he's paying attention, and he's looking out. But he's a man of few words.
I mean, the best scene is him and Gigi.
Yeah.
Where he looks down at him, and he has got to be impressive to Gigi for some reason.
Yeah.
He's feeling the need.
He just takes out those pans and just starts twirling them. Gives the cat a little wink. It's funny.
I mean, he was good comic relief, but then, his wife over there was just a nice motherly figure.
Yeah.
It wasn't overplayed. She was just there when Kiki needed her and not there when she didn't.
It's almost like she had been in a similar situation to Kiki and kind of knew how to look out for this, which I guess is just her being an adult. But yeah, you could say very motherly and just kind, just a good person. It's really easy to support these characters, right? To get behind them and want to see them do well, and they're just likable people.
It's just engaging, right? Yeah, I like them. I'm engaged with what's happening. It's good.
Yeah, that's what you want. And this film, I think, does that very well. How long was this film? I don't even know. Do you know?
You're the one who takes these notes?
I have no idea. It felt like a 2-hour film, but it almost felt long, but not in a negative way.
I mean, I feel like it feels kind of long because it is kind of slow paced. Like, the pacing is fine. I don't think there's pacing issues, but it's very slow paced. I hadn't seen this in a while, but I knew that it took us a while to really get to, like, Kiki having a delivery service type thing going.
It takes a little bit.
And that's fine.
It works because you're setting everything up.
You show everybody off, you kind of introduce all your major people. It helps make, Kiki and Tombo's relationship a lot more believable.
The first impressions with all these characters is positive, so it definitely helps to make you entertained and engaged. And when you get later in the film, I think that's where the slowdown kind of happens a little bit, with her like losing her powers and everything. Like going with Ursula back to her log cabin felt kind of out of nowhere, but it had been set up earlier in the film too, so it's not completely. But that would be like the one point where I'm like, I don't know, this is a little bit slower. But it's important for her character to kind of grow and experience things without magic, and then understand that, well, I don't know, to me it just kind of made me think of puberty in a way, actually.
Ursula's just her friend. She needed a good friend, because she had a motherly figure over there. She needed a friend. A nice, good friend. And Tombo is not a good friend. He's just kind of a flirt. Like, and I don't feel like he's, like, exceptionally supposed to be flirtatious, but he likes Kiki a whole lot.
Well, he's definitely enamored with her, at the very least. He's a similar age, I assume. 13-year-old boy. It's not unbelievable. But he's not like a pushy individual or anything. He's just polite, or tries to be. And I don't know, he doesn't come off as like extremely passionate person towards this, girl. He seems more passionate about, flying one day than anything.
He's passionate about getting her to interact with him. He tries a lot.
Well, yeah, he's just a little bit of persistence. Because he's a little snobby towards him, like, oh, you're supposed to introduce yourself first, and then just flies away.
She was upset because she couldn't manage on her own.
Oh, sure.
And that's what was upsetting about the situation to her.
Ah, sure.
Which is fine. You're 13, you think you're cool, hot stuff, you found a town to come to, and
immediately make a mistake.
And you didn't pan out super well right there, but that's fine. She redeems herself, delivers a pacifier.
Did you have a pacifier when you were young, do you know?
Probably. I don't know.
I think I was told I never did.
You just sucked your thumb like a terrible human being.
That is me.
Mm-hmm.
Once the whole delivery service is started up, we get pretty much right into it. We start delivering cages with fake stuffed animals in it.
It was kind of a weird gift, but I was like, okay. Maybe it was supposed to just be a cage for the bird.
I thought it was weird until we got to there, and then it was like, oh, we're replacing the bird cage. Okay, this makes more sense. And maybe the stuffed animal was just an extra. Maybe,
I don't know. It was kind of weird. I think that whole section is pretty funny, though.
Oh, it's really funny.
With the dog and that whole deal. She has to go deal with the crows, and they're angry at her.
Very mad. The damn wind knocked her out into their nest. It's funny, but I can kind of see birds doing that. Birds can get really protective.
Birds are mean. Like, if you get on birds' bad side, they are mean.
Yeah. So, it felt like, yeah, this seems like a believable situation. I don't know that Gigi could pull off a stuffed animal I was like, alright, well, that's some true skill on your part. But I really liked that scene, actually. I just thought it was really funny with the dog. I actually really like this dog, just kind of slow and helps him out. Just a good guy.
Yeah, the dog could communicate everything he needed to. I don't really understand how the dog innately knew, but he knew.
Well, in my mind, it seemed like animals had some level of communication skills. Gigi was able to understand the crows and what they were saying. So I just kind of assumed that animals had their own language.
Well, he talked to the dog, because I don't remember the dog's name, or if he got a name. He definitely had a name.
Yeah, he had a name.
And you wrote it down?
No.
Wow. But he says, he's willing to help out and blah, blah, blah. And so he talked to the dog at some point. Or the dog talked to him and he understood. I don't know.
I think it's always interesting when we let animals have their own communication that's separate from humans. and they can kind of all understand each other. That's always kind of an interesting idea to me.
What do you mean we let them? Like, you make it sound like we've given them the gift of communication.
Well, in a fictional setting.
Oh, okay. I was so lost.
And not in real life. Mr. Snake, I'm going to let you talk to Miss Pig over there today. Isn't that nice of me?
That's basically how that sounded. Like, you thought you were so full of yourself.
No.
Anyway. I mean, I like when animals can talk. I think it's a good deal. Animals talking is nice. I like animals, though.
You do like animals, for the most part.
I mean, moths suck. We all know that.
If it's an insect of any kind, or an arachnid, if it's a creepy crawly, it sucks. That's just how it goes.
That's not true.
They all suck.
I found a dead fly at work today. I think it was already dead, and I was like, oh, that's sad.
Did you give it a funeral?
No, I swept it to the ground, so it was off the parts.
That's fine, I guess. I thought you would be a nice guy and, like, bring it outside, give it a little burial, say a prayer for it.
I don't know that animals have souls of any kind, in my view of things, so I don't know why I would need to pray for it.
Don't they say flies live a short life anyway? No, they don't matter. Screw flies. I hate flies.
We're getting to nice flies everywhere now. People complain about flies a lot, too.
They're annoying.
They're not that bad. If you don't sit there and swat around at them, they generally just land and move on.
Yeah, I don't like them. I don't want to listen to them.
The sound is the most annoying part, and that's why I extradite them to the outdoors when they enter into the apartment. But we don't generally have any fly problems. Anyway, now that we are nicely off topic.
What do you think about Miss Granny?
I think she's a nice old woman. I kind of feel like she looks like she's supposed to be blind, though.
That's what I was thinking.
It's a very much like a Studio Ghibli look to things, because they have a look that they have perfected and used, and that's fine. But she looked like a blind woman. I feel like maybe it was just supposed to communicate how old and failing she is.
But she could clearly see, so it was like, okay. She was the weirdest design in this whole movie. I was like, what is going on with her? It just kind of looked kind of creepy. Like, maybe you're actually like an insidious creature, and you're gonna, turn into the devil and start attacking town. That's kind of what I thought when I looked at her.
That is far from what I looked at and saw. So, you're questionable. Got it. But she's a nice grandma figure. I like that she kind of is just like, oh, Kiki, you can basically be my granddaughter.
How nice.
My granddaughter sucks. She's a stuck-up brat.
Yeah, it seems to be.
That's a sad deal for Kiki. She was all dejected.
She didn't take that very well. She seemed to think that everybody was nice.
She had a very naive view of the world, and I feel like that's growing up in a small town. Right, in an exceptionally small town, everybody knows you, they all liked you. Maybe they just feared that your, mother is a witch.
Yeah, just blow them all up.
But everybody seemed nice to her there, and then, she goes to the city, and it is not the same experience.
Yeah, there's some jerks out there.
Like you.
Who don't care about their herring and pumpkin pie. Which, fair. That does sound disgusting. I don't blame this girl for not wanting that. But, you don't have to be so rude about it.
Look, her party was interrupted. She had to answer the door at her own party and be taken away from the festivities to get a pie.
That is a big deal. The whole, 2 minutes that took.
It didn't even take 2 minutes, let's be real.
Yeah.
She opened the door, she insulted Kiki, insulted the pie, walked away.
Now, I just want to know if this is a real recipe.
Why don't you look it up?
Well, because then I would know.
Isn't that the point of wondering? When you wonder something, you figure it out?
Well,
That's how that's worked? Curiosity is a motivator?
Yeah, but for the show, it's better for me to ask you what you think.
Oh, I think that could be a real pie. I think that's like actual pumpkin chunks, though. I don't think that's like pumpkin pie grossness that we have at, Thanksgiving. Like heathens. People need to understand here. Okay, we're on a tangent. That pumpkin pie is disgusting.
It's fine.
It's awful. It's mush that doesn't even taste good. And then you feel the need to put more whipped mush on top of it. That doesn't taste very good. Whipped cream is not something that adds anything to anything. So that's the deal here. People need to figure that out. I've said too many positive things about the show, and I'm probably going to continue, so I had to throw in some negativity.
What pie should they eat instead?
Pecan pie.
Pecan is better than pumpkin. But pumpkin's fine.
It's the best pie. That's not really true. If you make a good, berry pie, it's like a triple berry pie, like some blueberries, raspberries, and, strawberries in there, that's pretty good.
How about like a Dutch apple pie? How do you feel about that?
it's edible. It's fine. You're still a human being if you prefer that and will eat that, but like,
Okay.
nah.
So would you try herring? Well, assuming without your dietary restrictions, but would you have a herring and pumpkin pie?
Yeah, I'd try that.
You try that? I don't know that I'd even want to try that. That just sounds disgusting. I don't need this.
It's just like a variation on like a shepherd's pie, basically.
Is it?
That's how I took it.
I guess, but shepherd's pie is normally beef, right?
Yeah, I said a variation.
And
I didn't say it was the same thing.
I don't remember there being like pumpkin in it.
Well, I don't know why you're so hung up on this.
Because it's just weird. What is this pie? I just don't. Maybe this is like a real Japanese pie or something.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a thing in the movie that's not supposed to be made a deal out of, but you made this huge deal out of it.
I'm sorry. I was a little hung up on it.
I've noticed. You hung up on anything else? You want to move on?
No.
No, you don't want to move on. You want to continue talking about the
I would love to talk.
Okay, continue, please.
Why was it like it was shaped like a fish?
Well, she had designed the crust to have a fish on it, yeah.
That's a lot of extra work.
The love and care she put into it.
I mean, I guess you're old and you have nothing else to do, but seemed a little over the top. Now we can move on.
Oh, okay, and you're good now?
Yeah.
What do you think about her chocolate cake at the end?
Well, chocolate cake's a normal cake.
That's acceptable. There's nothing weird about that.
Let's just be real. Cake kind of sucks. But chocolate cake, whatever, it's fine.
Okay, alright. There's not much else to say about her and her weird... Well, I guess she has her maidservant who's trying to ride the broom and looking like an idiot. Which is pretty funny, actually.
It's kind of funny. I didn't really understand the relationship, though.
It's like her servant.
Is that what it was supposed to be?
That's how I understood it, like her handmaiden.
Why did you choose somebody that was also really old? Why didn't you get a young person?
Because she's trying to give the old person a chance, or she's been with her since she was a child.
I thought maybe they were like sisters or something, or I don't know.
Well, she definitely seemed like a servant-esque person of some sort.
It makes sense. I don't know. It was just weird.
Okay. I don't think we need to talk about any more characters, though, right? Talk about everybody.
You know, I really like Gigi.
Oh, yeah, we kind of glossed Gigi over. I don't want to do Gigi like that. He's alright. Or she. I don't really know what... I guess he has to be a man. His voice was not very manly.
Well, in Japan, they generally give cats a female voice.
Yeah, I'm aware. And I was like, okay, but Gigi over there... Gigi's kind of fine for a little bit, and then he just kind of becomes infatuated with this stuck-up cat.
I thought that was kind of funny.
He thinks he's above that.
Oh yeah, he does.
But he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's a terrible father. Absolutely terrible.
That's pretty funny though. Like, I'm just gonna hold this string. If you fall off, you'll be okay.
If you don't, have whiplash or hit something, accidentally drop. It's fine.
I thought that was hilarious.
It's great. Funny. It's comic relief for the sake of comic relief. And it works. It's funny.
Well, I think Gigi's kind of just a comic relief character in the end. He's a little stuck up, a little prideful, but,
Gigi's her friend when she doesn't have a friend, right? And I assume that's why she doesn't start talking to him again, because there's no need. She now has friends and the stability, and I feel like it's a character progression point.
Yeah, so I actually know that that's a difference between the original Japanese and then in the American release. They actually show a line that implies that they can talk together again. And this was all approved by Miyazaki himself. I think that is the implication. We watched this in the Japanese version, to be clear. And I don't know that I like that a whole lot. I don't know why you have to move on from the friendship. Like, they're still companions because they're still flying together there at the end. But, like, why would you stop talking? That seems weird.
She grew past that, I think, is the actual statement that got put out not that long ago.
I guess. It's just a little weird. I just don't know what... Like, you move past your friend? That seems a little harsh.
She moved past having to have an animal friend, right? She moved on to having real friends and the stability in her life. I don't think that the point is made poorly. I agree it seems kind of weird that, like, we're assuming talking to the cat is a part of witch powers, and so if you got your powers back, wouldn't that just mean you talked to the cat? It's a weird point.
Yeah,
and I accept it for its, like, purpose in the story, but I don't really think that it was a wise choice either.
It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. It's probably the one part of the film where I don't really know that I understand. Because, yeah, okay, we're making a purpose out of it, but it's like, I don't understand why you can't just have friends that are animals and people. You're a witch. It just doesn't really seem like a good point in the nature of what you are. Like, if it had been, like, all along, like, there was, you couldn't actually talk to this cat. You imagined the cat was talking to you, and then it had been like, okay, I stopped imagining the cat as communicating with me. I would understand. But, like, this was real communication. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of a dumb point, but whatever, I guess. I guess it doesn't explicitly state that she doesn't communicate, but in the movie, at least.
It never shows her talking to the cat again, though, like in him responding back.
Right.
Even after she's had her triumphant, saving Tombo.
Yeah, I agree. It's just weird.
Anyway, good old Kiki and Tombo, I feel like are the major points left here. She's kind of stuck up and mean. And then they have their cool little friendship outing, orchestrated by bakery woman.
Pregnant woman.
Yep. My coworker today said that one of the few things he fears in life is pregnant women. And I was so floored and confused. But we're not on speaking terms, so I wasn't going to clarify.
I would assume that was like, you have a girlfriend or a wife and she's pregnant, and like maybe she just gets like crazy when she's pregnant. And then she just, like, gets violent and starts beating him up or something.
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe domestic abuse happened.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what happened, and that would be sad if it did. Anyway, I'm going to move on to, pregnant woman setting him up. That was pretty clever. Like, I knew it was happening.
Yeah, you could tell, but it
was pretty good.
It's funny.
It was cute. I was like, oh, look at you guys. They have their little date, basically.
Pretty much.
And then she gets all angry and moody because she's 13.
I really thought these kids were pretty reckless over here. As a 13-year-old, I would not have got on that. I'd be like, no, that is a dangerous bike. I am not doing that. That is a bad idea.
It's fine.
And then when they're like zooming around, it's like bringing their head real close to the ground and everything, I'm like, man, this is not something I'd do.
That's fair. It's not a very exhilarating feeling to have to like turn corners like that and stuff. Some people really like it. I know people who ride motorcycles enjoy that kind of feeling. On a bicycle, though, I just think I'm going to fall. Now, I can't get anywhere near as close to the ground as Kiki can.
You can try.
I have fallen enough off the bike, and I will fall again off the bike, don't worry. It will happen. So I'm not going to purposefully do it. Anyway, it just sold kind of them as children really well. It adds to, like, she's getting her flying powers back, and then you get the Ursula scenes that come in and really give credence to that. But her and Ursula were nice, good friends. Let me tell you, Ursula's jawline, though, it's a little much. It's like a very prominent, strong jawline.
It's a very masculine take. And then they kind of make the whole joke where the driver is like, oh, I thought you were a boy. And she's like, oh, like, what the hell?
And you look at how you're dressed. And I'm like, okay, I guess. That was definitely the joke of it. I don't know that it was funny. I just feel like her jawline was too striking. Even if she was a man, I still probably would have felt like that was striking and too much. But that's fine. They're good, fast friends.
They get along pretty fast and pretty well. I believe that they'd hang out together. I'm not really sure how old this woman is.
I kind of thought she was like in her 20s, but I wasn't really positive.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if she was like a late teenager, early 20s, mid-20s. It was kind of hard to say exactly. She's out on her own. She seems to be fine doing that. So she's probably like in her 20s.
I mean, she's out on her own. She, hitchhikes. I like that she acts like this is the normal way to get from point A to point B. Like, I just hitchhike to the bus stop and then wander through the forest, and it's all good.
I feel like that would get old really fast.
I assume she probably didn't have to go into town very often.
Yeah, I mean, you got crow friends that'll give you their eggs or something, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I am sure they will. But her painting thing is a nice deal. Like, it looks really nice. I like the painting.
Pretty abstract.
I agree, it's abstract, but I think it looks nice. I wouldn't put that up in my house because it's a little
much.
Too abstract.
Yeah, I'm not a big abstract person.
Like, I feel like you see that in the wrong light and you think someone's gonna murder you.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but it's cool. It clearly took some talent to draw that, both as a character and then in reality, they had to draw that too. So.
Well, all their stuff is hand-drawn, so.
At this point, yeah. They that changes later, right?
I don't think so. I think they really pride themselves on a studio as keeping everything hand-drawn.
Well, I know in Mononoke, they added computer stuff in that one. That's where they first do it.
They generally add in, like, we took a hand-drawn thing and used a computer to animate things, so we didn't have to hand-draw every painstaking, change. But it's still hand-drawn.
I guess. But yeah, I mean, in this case, they would have drawn it. This came out in 89. They weren't using the computer for that stuff.
They might have. But, anyway, Ursula and her, good friends. But then she has to leave Ursula and come back and save Tombo, basically, because he's pathetic.
Is he pathetic? I feel like it'd take a lot of strength to hold yourself up like that.
He's not really holding himself up for very long in the grand scheme of things, because he's just sitting on the bumper.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at first he is, and then he slides down.
Because he's a weakling.
I feel like that would hurt so bad on your hands.
Oh, the burn.
Oh, God.
The burn on your hands. Then you hit it. And it's painful.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty painful moment.
You gotta keep holding on to the rope, though.
Yeah.
Because you will fall.
Yeah.
It'd be a terrifying experience.
He handles it pretty well, though, actually.
He's a pretty daring kid.
Yeah, he definitely is.
He's got to put on a good face for Kiki. He knows she's coming.
Yeah, he's like, all right, act cool. Like, yeah, I planned this. This is exactly what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, I gotta show my woman that she wants to be my woman.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he was thinking.
That probably was what he was thinking, okay.
That's the, climax of the film is this, contraption going haywire. And,
a blimp, yeah.
Yeah, but they called it something else, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's a blimp, though.
And, it's going haywire. It's wreaking havoc on the town. This wind is getting out of control, yet again.
I'm telling you, the antagonist of the film is wind. It's a joke, but it's also the most serious statement you can make.
Somehow, it is what causes the most problems.
I'm aware. She takes that guy's broom.
It's pretty funny. It's just this old... I don't know what style this is, whatever.
It's like a shop broom type thing.
Sure.
It's not quite the same, but yeah.
And she takes that, promises to return it. That never happens.
He was elated that she used his broom anyway.
Yeah, after that, he's like, yeah, keep it. It's awesome, great.
She also threatened to burn it.
You gotta keep it in control.
Which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing that, the brooms have their own personality, I guess. We don't really explain that. We just kind of expect you to believe it. But the broom behaves better, after it's threatened to be burned.
Better. Yeah. That's the broom she's using at the very end, too, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought that she had moved on to a different broom in the other scenes. But maybe you just don't see the back of it. Because you see Gigi and his parenting skills before that.
Yeah.
I don't think you actually get to see the back of the broom, and I think I just assumed it was a normal broom. She keeps the broom, or she decided that's the style of broom she needs. That's a better broom. It's way cooler.
It almost seems like it'd be really good for, speed, because you can, put your feet on the back, right?
I guess. I don't really understand.
Well, there's a shot where she's, going through pretty quickly on, through one of the tunnels or whatever. I guess they're like a bridge. And she's got her feet on the back, and it's, giving her that, propulsion effect. I'm like, oh, okay, that's...
No, she's bracing herself on the broom.
Yeah, and it's helping,
It's not making it go faster.
It might be.
It's going faster, so she is bracing herself.
Yeah, whatever. I like to think that this is just a cool, convenient, tool.
Look, just because you're stuck in Harry Potter world, and you're thinking all about how stupid their broom Quidditch stuff is, doesn't mean that Kiki has to abide by the same stupidity.
Oh, yeah, true. My bad.
Yeah, get it straight.
But she saves him. Everyone's elated. Seems like she's really, earned the town's trust after that.
Yeah, the police officer is her friend now.
Yeah, how nice.
And, the same rich woman is always her friend.
Yeah, she's very kind. She's also the owner of the, cat.
Yeah.
The stuck-up cat.
The nice stuck-up cat. So then, her cat has a bunch of kittens.
4.
At least.
That we see.
Pretty sure it's a small litter, but that's okay.
Whatever. And, that's pretty much it.
You get the letter at the end.
It's a really short letter.
It is short. I really thought we should do something more. We should have done a better time skip. To her as an adult running her shop.
That could have been cool.
She's moved on. Her and Tombo are doing good things. Maybe not. Maybe Tombo wasn't up to snuff.
I think the film wants to end within this year idea, and just, I don't know, like, I don't think that's necessary. I think it would have been cool, but...
It's very much just a slice of life thing. It's,
yeah,
here's your slice,
moment
you're
of
done.
time.
And that's fair. That's fine. I didn't hate it because of that, but I wanted a little bit more of, like, a little bit of a time skip and something, or...
It almost feels like you could make a sequel.
Oh, you could make a sequel.
You could totally go wherever you wanted with this, so...
It's very open. I don't think they're returning to it.
No. It's been a long time since this movie came out anyway.
Well, I don't know. Whispers of the Heart is getting a weird live-action sequel thing.
That sounds weird. Are you going to watch that?
Probably not. It sounds really bad.
Okay.
Like, it sounds not good. And I really like Whispers of the Heart. Maybe we'll review that.
I've never seen it.
You'd also never seen this all the way through, right?
I'd only seen probably like 20 minutes.
Yeah, so this is a pretty first take in your world.
Yeah, this is mostly new.
I think this is the second or third time I've seen this.
Yeah, no, I would say this is my second favorite Ghibli movie now.
Second favorite. Mononoke's at the top. And this has risen itself up high in the ranks.
Yeah, but if I'm being honest, like, the popular ones, I don't like Howl's Moving Castle. Spirited Away is okay. I guess Nausicaa's not quite the same thing, but it's always thrown in, so I'll throw it in. I don't really care for it a whole lot. I like Castle in the Sky, I guess. But I feel like that pacing in that movie is a little too quick.
You haven't seen all the Ghibli films, though.
I have not seen all of them, no.
I have seen most of them, and they're better than most films. That's why we can't do these very often, though. Because then people would think that I like too many things, and
that'd be a problem.
Yeah, we can't let that happen.
I bet you I would like less than half of them. It would be my guess.
That's fair.
A lot of them are kind of weird.
They are kind of weird. Anyway, you got anything else you need to add into Kiki?
It's a solid movie. I liked it.
It's a solid film. I agree. It's a good film.
It's kind of nice to see a film that doesn't need an antagonistic force. I get the win thing, but like, in reality, there's no real antagonist. It's just kind of a story about a person's life. And that's cool. I like seeing things like that.
I think we've wandered into kind of like there always needs to be an adversary, right? Which isn't true. There always needs to be conflict. And she has conflict, and she overcomes that conflict, and she figures it out.
Right. But it doesn't need to be an evil force.
Yeah, it's all internal, though. And I think that really works. It makes it different, and it feels refreshing and nice for that purpose.
Definitely so.
Yeah, nothing else, though.
Nope.
Well, it's been a pleasure, as always. We watched a pleasurable movie, and it would bring us some more pleasure if you'd have at us. It'd take the form of, comments, maybe hate comments. You'd be hating on Kiki, but I feel like nobody hates on Ghibli. If I don't hate on Ghibli, I feel like nobody hates on Ghibli, for the most part. But if that's you, I definitely want to hear from you. You comment on our thoughts, opinions, or feelings. You give us yours. You like, you subscribe, share this. All the good things. All the things we need you to do to help support this. We appreciate you listening.
And there's one more thing you could definitely 100% do. This won't take very much time, but I need you to go purchase a blimp. Don't rent it. You are purchasing it. This is yours. Now I need you to decorate it with our logo. But after you've purchased this, you've decorated it, you fly it around town. Fly it around your city. Fly it around the world, possibly. That could be pretty cool. Maybe you could go to a new town and experience that life.
If we see your blimp, we will be impressed. We will try and wave you down, let you know that was good of you.
Yeah, we'll call you out in a positive way.
We'll give you a nice shout out in the episode after we see it. Well, let's hear it. What are you giving it?
I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10.
I'm giving this a 7.5 out of 10.
Have at us.